little girl came running into the house, bawling her eyes out and cradling her hands. "Mommy, quick, get me a glass of cider," she wailed. "Why do you want a glass of cider?" asked her mom. "I cut my hand on a thorn and I want the pain to go away." Confused but weary of the child's whining, the mother obliged and poured her a glass of cider. The little girl immediately dunked her hand in it. "Ouch, it still hurts. This cider doesn't work," she whined. "What are you talking about?" asked Mom. "What made you think that cider would ease the pain?" "Well, I overheard my big sister that whenever she gets a prick in her hand, she can't wait to get it in cider." Man walks into a pharmacy, buys a condom, then walks out of the store laughing hysterically. The pharmacist thinks this is weird, but there are no laws preventing weird people from buying condoms. Who knows? Maybe it's a good thing. The next day, the same man comes back to the store, purchases yet another condom, and once again, he leaves the store laughing wildly. This piques the interest of the pharmacist. What could be so funny after buying a condom anyway? So he tells his clerk, if that guy ever comes back, I want you to follow him to see where he goes. Sure enough, the next day the same man is back. He buys the thing and again starts cracking up with laughter, then leaves. The pharmacist tells his clerk to go follow the guy. About an hour later, the clerk comes back to the store. "Did you follow him? Where did he go?" asks the pharmacist. The clerk replies, "Your house." Old retirees were talking about naughty acts in a cafe. When they finished, the two retirees pay their bill and leave the cafe. A young man sitting next to them has overheard the conversation and smiles to himself, thinking it would be quite amusing to see two old retirees going at it. He gets up and follows them. Sure enough, he sees the two old retirees near the factory. The little old lady pulls off her panties and lifts up her dress. The old man pulls down his pants and grabs the lady's hips, and the little old lady then reaches for the fence. Well, what follows is 40 minutes of the most athletic the man has ever seen. The little old man is banging away at the little old woman at a pace that only can be described as phenomenal. Limbs are flying everywhere, the movement is a blur, and they do not stop for a single round. Finally, they collapse and don't move for an hour. The man is stunned. Never in his life has he ever seen anything that equates to this. Not in the movies, not from his friends, not from his own experiences. Reflecting on what he has just seen, he says to himself, I have to know his secret. If only I could like that now, let alone in 50 years' time. The two old retirees have by this time recovered and dressed themselves. Gathering the courage, he approaches the older man. He says, Sir, in all my life I have never seen anybody screw like that, particularly at your age. What's your secret? Could you like that 50 years ago? The retiree replies, Son, 50 years ago that fence wasn't electric. One day when the teacher walked to the blackboard, she noticed someone had written the word penis in tiny letters. She turned around and scanned the class looking for the guilty face. Finding none, she quickly erased it and began her class. The next day she went into the room and she saw in large letters the word penis again on the blackboard. Again she looked around in vain for the culprit, but found none. So she proceeded with the day's lesson. Every morning for about a week, she went into the classroom and found the same disgusting word written on the board. And each day the word was larger than the day before. Finally, one day she walked in expecting to be greeted by the same word on the board, but instead found the words, the more you rub it, the bigger it gets.